evening. Welcome to Inside Asia. I am Akkharaphong Khamkhun, your host for tonight. In the year 2015, ASEAN countries members are going to become a single community. Tonight, we will talk exclusively with Mr. Arthayudh Srisamoot, Director General of ASEAN Division at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Royal Thai Government. We will talk exclusively again about the classic topic, ASEAN community in the global perspective. Stay tuned. This evening, I have a very good opportunity to talk with Director General Arthayudh Srisamoot of the ASEAN Division of Thai Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Today we are going to talk very exclusively about ASEAN community in the year 2015, which is very prominent by building the connectivity between the ASEAN countries, because Thai government tries a lot to build this kind of sense of ASEAN connectivity. Sawadee krap. Welcome to Inside Asia tonight, and thank you very much for joining us. So let's talk briefly about general definition of ASEAN community. What is it?
Well, the ASEAN community contains three pillars. First pillar is the ASEAN political and security community.
Yes.
Second pillar is the ASEAN economic community, and the third is the ASEAN social cultural community.
Yes. So by the year 2015, which is we already heard, we have heard in our advertisement, in every commercials, that we are going to be one community. What does it mean, one community?
Well, within the year 2015, I think we would realize the vision that our founding fathers set up during 1967,
yes,
when we set up the Organization of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, in Bangkok, to have one regional community,
yes,
which has cooperation in all aspects of the people's cooperation, whether it's going to be political and security community, where you have enhanced cooperation. We want to strengthen and promote Southeast Asia as a region of peace, stability, and prosperity. We have a fully integrated and single market ASEAN economic community,
yes,
where there's free flow of trade, services, goods, investment, and we also have a well-developed and sharing and caring society within the ASEAN region, which is an ASEAN social cultural community, where we have, even though we have different cultural identities, we have a sense of Southeast Asia, and we join together, given our unique historical or cultural background, to create a single community within the region. So that is our vision. But I think 2015 is only a realization of the vision that we set out in 1967, when we set up the ASEAN cooperation under the Bangkok Declaration.
Yes, sir. So what is the difference between 1967's Bangkok Declaration and the ASEAN Charters, which aims to synchronize ASEAN to become a single community in the year 2015? What are the differences?
Yes, in 1967 there were only 5 countries,
yes,
and we came to Bangkok with an idea of creating a stable and peaceful environment for the region. We were not talking about free trade or human rights in the region. We were talking about creating a stable environment,
yes,
where peace and security and prosperity are the main,
yes,
focus. I think the Bangkok Declaration of 1967 is only a 3-page declaration. It aims to set out the outlines, the objectives of having an ASEAN community, without going to specifics. And I think it was a loosely based declaration, where we talk about the vision and the objectives, but without setting out in clear and precise language the structure, the frequency of meetings, the legal applications. with the ASEAN Charter, we have set up those ideas of having what is the structure. We have the head of state, head of government at the top level. We have the ministerial level. We have the sectoral ministers meeting, the senior officials, the working groups, the ASEAN Secretariat to support. We have various mechanisms for dispute settlement. We have structure of meetings using English as a standard language. These are the concepts that were inherent in the original declaration, but which was not spelled out. But it is being spelled out in the ASEAN Charter, and I think it's a more legal binding document that tries to bind the ASEAN countries not only in spirit, but also have a strong legal foundation also.
Okay, so because you mentioned about the ASEAN Charter, you talk a lot about the dream or the ideas of binding people together. But I don't see any forcing powers. If some of the members of ASEAN countries didn't follow this kind of ASEAN Charter, what would be the results if they would not follow this?
I think ASEAN is a very special organization, unlike the EU, unlike other regional organizations, where it is more legalistic and clear-cut.
Yes.
Where if something happens, you go to an arbitration. If something happens, this certain mechanisms fall into place. ASEAN is bind together spiritually, like what I say, in spirit, and in our common desire to promote peace and stability in the region. So sometimes there would be instances of infractions. When you talk about cooperation in free trade, Thailand had some minor disputes with certain countries in the region regarding the bringing down tariff rates. For example, automobile, it was very high, and we had a decision to make it come lower, but there were certain neighboring countries that wanted some time to adapt before lowering their tariffs. So we settled the matter amicably in a bilateral manner. There was certain give and take, some compensation. So these are the forces in play, the natural forces in play that help to bind ASEAN. With the ASEAN Charter, we have a mechanism where we have a dispute settlement mechanism where we can resort to the High Council of the ASEAN heads of government or the binding principles of the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation. These principles are in place, but it has never been entered into force because we have emotionally and visionarily bind ourselves together with the same objectives, even though there might be different interpretations of how to reach that objective. I think everybody has the same objective, and I think it is with this unique character of ASEAN that help bind us together without the need to resort to any clear-cut, legalistic or procedural method. And I think time has shown that it has served ASEAN well. There has never been a major regional confrontation in the region. There might be bilateral cases of conflict from time to time between all parties, but regionally we have achieved many big things in the three areas.
Yes. So after the break, we will come back again for talking with Director General Arthayudh Srisamoot.